what is the scientific evidence, all right? And we're going to get really factual about the things that we are sharing here today. And today, you will have a solution that can help to not only change life, but literally save lives. So before I start, here is a quick disclaimer. So I came across a really interesting case study recently. All right, this is a blood report that was shared to me. And as you can see here, these are all lipid indicators that inform us about the situation of our cholesterol health. So before we look at anything specific here, let's look into the individual indicators here and what does it mean to our health. So the total cholesterol is basically a measure of total amount of both LDL and HDL cholesterol. And LDL cholesterol is the main source of cholesterol buildup and blockage in the artery. So I'm sure most people are well aware that LDL is the bad cholesterol, and it is indeed still the main cholesterol that causes us to have heart disease. And next, I want to spend a bit more time on triglycerides because I feel that everybody kind of know that it's bad, but they don't actually understand the impact and what kind of effect it does to the body. So triglyceride is actually a type of fat that stores unused calories. So when you eat, your body converts any calories it does not need into triglyceride. So if a person has elevated levels of triglyceride, this will reflect on their excess fat stores in the body. It means there are a lot of extra stuff that's floating around in our bloodstream. And then our body turns excess carbohydrate that are not used for energy into triglycerides. So this is why some doctors may ask you, all right, if you are taking a lot of sugary foods, if you were to take any highly processed foods, because it has the tendency to become triglycerides into your bloodstream. So as we can see, it has a relationship with carbohydrates. So if we have elevated levels of triglycerides, over time, it could harm our pancreas because, as you all know, pancreas is the main hub in which our body produces insulin. So this may lead to pancreatitis. And next, we have HDL cholesterol. So I'm sure this has garnered a pretty good reputation because it's known as the good cholesterol, right? It's the cholesterol that carries away the harmful cholesterol away from the cells. So this is the only thing that the more you have, the better. And how it works is this. It brings the excess cholesterol to the liver to make sure that it's broken down or it's passed out from the body as a waste product. So in this way, it does not stay in the body, and low amounts of HDL indicates high risk of cardiovascular disease. So if you have very low amount of HDL, usually that is also a danger point. It's not just only high levels of LDL, but low level of HDL indicates that we have very high risk to heart disease. So the higher the better. So after looking through all of these things, well, it seems that we have a pretty good picture of how the situation is, right? However, what really caught my attention was this. Lately, I noticed recent blood reports have this category, which most people would overlook because they will only look at the LDL or triglyceride or cholesterol. So what does it really mean? And why do they have this category? So in this non-HDL cholesterol, there is this category that includes VLDL. In other words, it's known as very low LDL. So VLDL is like the baby version of an LDL. So this VLDL carry triglycerides to tissue And over time, eventually, it will become LDL. So just like LDL, it also causes cholesterol to build up on the inside of our arteries, creating artery clogging plaque. And you may wonder, why can't they be direct about this, right? Why can't they just put VLDL and just give me the number straight away? And why do they need to cluster it under a non-HDL category? The reason is because there is no simple direct way to measure VLDL cholesterol up to now, which is why it is normally not noted on a routine cholesterol screening. So unless you have a very severe genetic issue that couldn't enable you to produce normal level of VLDL, then this test is usually not required, but it gives you a more clear picture about your overall cholesterol health. So what is the significance of this non-HDL? Since we already have so many indicators, so what other dimension does this provide us? So according to past recent studies, all right, in these 3 to 5 years, okay, researchers has noted that non-HDL has very strong association with long-term risk towards cardiovascular disease. So if we have this value together with our total lipid profile, it can give us a clearer picture and the full picture, in fact, not just only short-term, but long-term risk of cardiovascular disease. And it seems that if we have high levels of non-HDL values, in the projection of 30 years cardiovascular disease risk, it will be elevated 3 to 4 times higher compared to a person who does not have high level of non-HDL values. So I think this speaks volume, all right, and gives us very detailed and specific extension to the gravity of cholesterol health it has on us. So because of this, I'm sure that the world is coming out with all kind of possible solution to help us overcome this issue. I'm sure we have definitely come across well-meaning friends or relatives that once in a while will share us something about health, right? Okay, we get viral and they will start talking about a specific food like apple cider or cinnamon, you know, would it possibly help in sugar or cholesterol control? And the claims that they have seem to be really bizarre. And for those who don't do any cross research or cross reference, would very easily jump on the train and assume that these claims are true. So I'm no stranger to all these rumors because I myself have also come across a dozen amount of good meaning advice on how to better control my cholesterol and sugar health. So one of the really common ones that I've happened to come across is apple cider. A lot of people are talking about how great it is and how it could help the digestive system. And now it even come towards helping us to lower our sugar level. So let's take a look and see how true is it. So these are a few reported claims. Apple cider vinegar is mostly apple juice, but adding yeast turns the sugar in the juice into alcohol. So this is how you get the really tangy and really strong vinegar taste from apple cider. And it is found that taking 20 grams would lower blood sugar after meals. And taking apple cider vinegar before bed helped moderate blood sugar upon waking up. So they look like, it will make someone interested, right? So I've done my own homework to cross-check on the validity of these claims. And look what I found. During the time when I was doing a lot of cross-referencing, I noticed that a lot of this design of research done are actually quite poor. They are first of all done in very small sample sizes, so you wouldn't have an accurate picture about how good this data is. Because if you have a research that done in among 30 people, say, all right, even if you do have a significant result, but you cannot use that result to represent the whole population, right? What is the number of people we have in this world? So it's not representative of the recommendation we can give for general population. Hence, because of that, the research design is really poor. And the latest study on apple cider vinegar is dated 10 years ago. So as you know how quickly things change, 10 years ago, it's considered a very dated study. And over this 10 period of time, there isn't any follow-up done upon this. So after looking through the evidence, I have to say I'm not too impressed. So the verdict is there's insufficient evidence for us to claim that it works on lowering blood sugar levels. So next, we have bitter melon, right? This is like the sister of bitter gourd. And I've came across a lot of suggestions on how this could help lower sugar level as well. So let's take a look. So what are the reported claims? Apparently, it has properties that act like insulin, which helps bring glucose into the cells for energy. And then the claim further elaborates that it can help cells utilize glucose into the liver, muscle, and even our fat tissues. Isn't it bizarre? So let's see how does it fare across real evidence. So apparently, there was no statistically significant difference in the glycemic control with bitter melon compared to a placebo. And just so you know, placebo is a dummy. All right, it's a dummy that has the medication that has nothing in it. In other words, it's like a fake medication. So the effect of bitter melon and fake medication has no difference. What about that? And this goes about saying that if it compares to diabetes medication, of course, there is no significant change in glycemic control. So even though the reported claim to be, wow, we could help us to utilize insulin better, but there's no significant difference compared to a dummy. And to date, bitter melon isn't an approved treatment or medication for prediabetes or diabetes condition. So, after looking through all these food claims about how certain food will help to reduce certain health conditions, I'm not too impressed by it. Okay, and the verdict is still the same. There's insufficient evidence. And I'm sure over time, for all of you, you will come across the next food that will claim to do this or do that for us. So before we get too excited and we jump on the train to think that, yeah, you know, it's going to work, we're going to really make sure that it is supported by concrete evidence. Well, I know religion requires faith, right? But I'm not too sure about the idea of faith related to supplements. If I only blindly take my supplements based on faith, there's no evidence. I'm not too sure if I would trust my health on that. So a little bit of faith is important, right? For us to really, you know, embrace the whole process about improving health, but not too much. You gotta make sure that what we believe has substance and is true. And because of that, well, there's another spectrum of people who are very hard-pressed on evidence. All right, they only want to see evidence and they only want to see scientific results. So because of that, well, medication has a really good reason to stay. And as we know, it's dominated by huge pharmaceutical companies and they dominate the entire industry. So let's see how good it is. So apparently, diabetes medication, I'm very surprised to see this news. All right, there is a recall of metformin extended release. And this is very recent news, and I came across this from CNN. And a lot of major health websites like WebMD or Healthline, if you search metformin, they will also have an announcement on top of their browser to indicate that metformin is now being recalled. So in just May 2020, FDA, okay, recommend that some makers of metformin extended release remove some of these tablets from the US market. Just so you know, for FDA to step in and to declare a recall, I think that's really serious. I've heard of recall for cars, but this is the first time I'm hearing recall on medication. It's something you eat inside your body, you know. Why is it so serious? It's because they found an unacceptable level of a probable carcinogen, cancer-causing agent, was found in some extended release metformin tablets. And metformin is so commonly used. I already know, on top of my head, a few people who are already on metformin medication. So if you're taking it, please make sure you go and contact your healthcare provider. This is actually big news, so I'm sure that the doctors are aware about this. Just to be sure, always check with them, oh, is my medication falling into this list? And they will advise you whether you should continue to take your medication or you need a new prescription. And if you want to do a little bit of your own research, you can in fact go to the FDA website. Right there, they will have a list of suppliers that have this metformin. So you can cross-check from there. So, well, as we all know, medication to a certain degree, it helps, right? And that's the reason why doctors are prescribing it. But if you ask me, I'm not going to touch this, all right? Even though it works, but it's causing cancer, all right? I am not going to trust my health on something that is going to bring me harm. It's my health, all right? And who knows what is the next thing they're going to discover out of medication. And we know there are people who have to take medication and their lives are terrible. They're not living, you know. They have to eat just to hang on to life to survive. So with me, I would say medication is not something that I will go for. All right, if this does not make you alarmed, then I'm not too sure what will. And because, you know, as you see, medication really isn't that safe for human consumption, then what do health authorities suggest us to do? Because they are the main spokesperson to inform us on their decisions about diet. So let's see what they have to say. So I'm sure everybody is familiar with this, all right? Your mother asks you to eat more fiber, your grandmother, your friends and family are encouraging you to eat more vegetables and fruits. So without a shadow of doubt, we know that fiber is important. And regardless, you know, whichever health authority that you would quote, for me is this. You could use the Institution of Medicine or whatever health authority in your country. The general range is 25 to 30 grams of fiber a day. So this is just general fiber. But in relation to this topic, 7 to 13 grams of soluble fiber is suggested for cardioprotective effect. So we should aim to get both of these figures in our daily diet. So what are the types of soluble fiber? Well, the common one that we all know from oats is beta-glucan. And is this the only soluble fiber in the world? So there are many different types, okay? There are also another cluster in gums, and in gums there are many different types as well. There's psyllium husk, there's fructans, and hemicellulose. So these are the 5 general classes of soluble fiber that we can find that can improve our health. So let's take a look on food sources, shall we? So for oats, for 3/4 cup, around 0.8 cup, all right, you get 3 grams. So to be honest, this is a lot of oats for me, all right? And beans, okay, is touted as a rich source of dietary fiber. However, there's 3 to 5 grams of soluble fiber only. But if you were to ask me, I don't think I eat any beans in 6 months. All right. I mostly eat rice, okay, and unless I go to the malak store to have a roti canai, and most likely you give a bit of dal. So for me, I think this is out of the question. Well, sweet potato, I know a lot of people like it, and it does have a certain amount of soluble fiber in it. And next we have carrot, all right? You need 1 cup of carrot to give you 2.4 grams of soluble fiber. That's a lot of carrots. And this is a sad thing, okay? After eating 1 whole apple, you only get 1 gram of soluble fiber. So with all these things into consideration, we have to think about, well, how much we can eat it, number one, and how consistent do we have a variety of soluble fiber in our diet. Okay, say you are very healthy, all right? And you eat all these foods in a day, all right? Let's just give those who are eating healthy the benefit of the doubt. So total soluble fiber is 13.2 grams, which is great. This is the recommended intake that you should be eating a day. However, the total carbohydrate on all these food alone is 141 grams. This is 3 times the recommended amount that is purported for under the low carb unicity principle. It's 3 times all this food. So no doubt you achieve that soluble fiber, but it compromises you a lot in the carbohydrate intake. And high amount of starchy vegetables, and this is based on research, okay? Based on research done in Chinese population. So this is very close to us as Asians. So apparently, all these healthy vegetables, if you eat in high amounts, can lead to high sugar and high triglyceride values. When I come across this research, I couldn't believe it myself because I always thought that, oh, eating all the corn, sweet potato, right, seems to be really good. And no doubt they are low in GI, but however, it does not reduce the fact that they have high carbohydrate content. And even though these are vegetables, they can increase our triglyceride value. So it really makes you rethink the reality of the situation, right? How about healthy fats? Okay, I can say that there's literally none at all, and there's no protein to give us the satiety, to maintain our muscle mass and things like that. So you can be well on your way to achieve soluble fiber, but how about the other things that we are neglecting? So despite of medical and food advancement, 25 years ago, statin is one of the top 5 medication in the world. And today, it is still the top 5 medication in the world. So how far have we advanced here? Heart attack is still the #1 killer in the world. And there's a number of 17.9 million deaths worldwide. So this is many, many times more than what is happening in the US alone. And as for diabetes, it affects 422 million people worldwide. So it really looks like we are not going anywhere. And we are not achieving much despite of what the world claims to have achieved. So, what is the real solution? Looks like food won't help. Medication is going to give us a bunch of side effects, and so-called soluble fiber in healthy foods does not help us at all. So, we as Unicity, we have done our own clinical study to just prove to how beneficial is our products against cholesterol and sugar levels. So this is one of our latest study that's done in one of the renowned universities in Indonesia. So according to this report, as you can see here, all right, LDL concentration in both the treatment group and placebo are virtually identical. So the one that you see in a darker shade, it's the one that is with Bioslide C, and the placebo is the one that looks gray. So at the end of the 4-week randomization period, we find that LDL-C level has lowered significantly compared to placebo. So as you can see in the image here, I think you can see a very drastic change, right? As for placebo, there's literally no change at all. It stays stagnant. But for the treatment group, it reduced significantly. And the total reduction is up to a 20% compared to placebo that only have a fluctuation of 4.8%. So this is not medication, you know. It can give you this kind of result. Next, let's look at total cholesterol. Okay, so if you can see, it's the same story. It looks kind of like the same in both treatment and placebo groups. So after 4 weeks, we can see in the concentration of the treatment groups has dropped drastically. yeah, you can see it's a very obvious change here. And it's the same. Placebo, I think, has become worse. If you look at the graph here, all right, the total cholesterol level has increased, all right? So compare with, you know, our product with the bitter melon. Bitter melon is like no change at all, but ours is like such a significant difference. And moving on, we did an more extensive test, all right? We want to test apolipoprotein B. So what is this? Well, most blood tests may not have this, but this is generally done for us to determine the main protein that consists in LDL and VLDL. So we done this test as well, just to be on the safe side. And okay, as usual, there's no significant difference initially. But after that, at the end of the trial, we can see a very significant difference as well in the treatment groups. So this is just one of the study, all right? Let me, you know, just give you more just in case you're not convinced. So this is another one, lipid and glucose optimization, okay? We use phytonutrient, which is our Bioslife range to test. So if we look at the results in the study, okay, we look at this, if you can see my cursor, okay, so this is baseline. This is what happened before the whole treatment go on. So you can see the numbers here are pretty high. It's 168 for LDL and HDL is 32. So they actually did a number of studies. So this is the first study. You can see here, it has negative 24.5% of difference. It's very significant from here. And the HDL have also increased very significantly. And the next one, we have tested on people who are taking statins. So these are statin group and they add on with Bioslife. So likewise, before we can see it's 150 and after it's 118. It's also in a negative 21.1% decrease. And the HDL has increased significantly. Wow, it's like 23.2%. And not only just it decreases LDL, but it increases the HDL. And there's still another study, we did 3. So in this, also the same, 154 to 119. And the HDL have also increased to 25 to 30. So this is a very significant change. And just so you know, this is just our fiber supplements, all right? We do not use any drastic measure to stop your liver to produce, okay? It's really just from the Bioslife range. And moving on, cholesterol is just only one part of the study that we have done. Okay, this is only 2 out of the many studies that we have. So just so you know, the University of Sydney is the university that invented the glycemic index. So we find that it's only fitting if we bring our Bioslife range to test to see how effective it is against the glycemic index. So as you can see here, based on this graph, all right, the blue one indicates glucose and the red is white grade. So even by taking just one serving, one packet of Bioslife S, we can see a very significant difference in terms of the blood glucose levels. You see from here to here. And if we take 2 servings, it drops even more and it sustains throughout. So this is the total reduction. It's also 20%. Actually, 20% is a lot. And next, we also have on insulin. So the trend looks pretty similar. The glucose is here, and this is white grade. So by 1 serving, we've decreased quite significantly. And by 2 servings, the insulin has decreased even more drastically. So from here itself, you can see how potent it is in reducing blood sugar levels. So we are really very passionate in the research study that we do, and we ensure that we always keep doing them. So we do it in every part of the world. We do it in the US, in the Europe, in Asia, in Thailand, in Indonesia, just so to prove that anybody irregardless of your race, your gender, or your geographical location, it proves that BIOS Life will still work on you. So if you want more information, you can go to our Unicity Science revamped website, and they have all the resources you need and the research that you want to find for your own benefit. And those are just part of the story, okay? We did clinical research. But on top of that, we also gathered a lot of real life results from the community. And these are from people that I personally know, who have tried and tested the products that really experienced a change for themselves. So let's take a look at the results. So this is the result on July 2017. As you can see, this is the initial value. But in just a matter of 4 months, we can see a very drastic change as well. Total cholesterol values has reduced to 205. HDL have increased, and we can see the LDL reduced here, and this is really the very, very significant one. It's a 68% decrease from initial. So as you can see here, it's really fascinating. And the results, I think, for this is even stronger than the clinical results, which I think is fantastic. And next, all right, we have another one. You see here also is typically high on the higher side. And the LDL is also nearing low. The HDL is also nearing low. LDL is high, and triglyceride values as well. So after, we can see a very drastic change in terms of the total cholesterol values. So from 5.55, we become 4.1. The LDL has become normal, all right, from 3.52 become 2.3, and the triglyceride values has turned from 2.03 to 1.0. And if you look at this result, you wouldn't believe, okay, this part, you wouldn't believe that this person used to suffer from cholesterol-related issue. It was completely clean, and it is as if it's healthy. So this is really the power of the BIOS Life products. Okay, not just only from published papers, but also on real life experiences. And because of this achievement that we have and the consistency of our results, we are always coming up with new patents. And patent after patent, just to improve and to secure the potency of our products. And to be honest with you, to get a patent is really not easy. You have to be backed by really strong results, really high quality research, and as well as very strong results, yes. So we have tons of patents done on our BIOS Life products, and it still is until today. So in just the BIOS Life range alone, you don't only just get beta-glucan, right? Which most of the, even if you go out supplement, right, you see the fiber supplement, they always claim there is beta-glucan. Or maybe they say that psyllium husk only. But in just BIOS Life range alone, we have incorporated a variety of soluble fibers for you. And you can get all of this in only just one serving of BIOS Life products. And on top of this, we have added 10 different vitamins and minerals just to fill in the gap and to improve our overall quality of health. Well, being in this industry for some time, I've seen a lot of different types of fiber products, but none of them can give us the amount of variety, all right, of fibers, and most importantly, that they do not have the confidence to say that their products can really lower blood sugar and cholesterol reading. So the BIOS Life is more than just a fiber supplement. And it is the only fiber supplement out there that can give you all these benefits. And the best thing is, it does not cause me cancer, you know. It's protective for me, feel good taking it. And as we know from here, fiber itself does not solve the problem. Okay, it's not as easy as us going to the grocery store, buying more apples, buying more fruits, eating more vegetables, and it can solve the global pandemic of cardiovascular disease. As we can see from the statistics just now, it's completely the opposite. And nowadays, even in the natural foods that we find, the sugar content is more than fiber in food. I've done my own research on apple, and I was very surprised to find that one apple, there's only 4 grams of dietary fiber. And there's even a column, and I couldn't believe it, right? For fruits, there's a column of sugar. I thought it's 0, but the total sugar content is 24 grams, you know. And this is not from a processed food. This 24 grams is from apple. So I don't know. I'm speechless myself. And I think our food has changed drastically over the years due to all the genetic modification and things like that. And the effect of sugar has overpowered the benefits of fiber that is present in this food. And the best thing is you are patented. And that's the reason why we're very different from other supplements out there. People can tell you that they can take, you know, psyllium husk from external sources, but none of them have the benefit like us. And we have a track record of 30 years. So indeed, there's no other supplement like BioSlife. And I hope from this whole illustration, you will understand the power of the products that you have. So, concurring with what Stuart Hughes have said, these are really our BioSlife range. So cholesterol control, we have BioSlife C+, sugar control, we have S, and for microbiome, we have Bio7. And Bio7 is also the only product that can give us 58% increase of the good bacteria in our gut. So what is your cause? Just like what Stuart Hughes have said, all right? Whatever we do, we need to know the reason we are doing what we do. Even for me today, presenting to you, I also have to be reminded on what is my cause. And I find this to be a very timely reminder because when I was doing this slide, I remembered about my grandmother. When we knew that she had stage 4 colon cancer, it changed my life forever. I never see things the way it is, and my view about health and on life itself have transformed completely. And the reason behind that is because she has long-standing diabetes condition that has made her entire condition worsen. And at that point of time, I didn't know about Unicity. So by the time when we knew about this condition, it's too late to even do any intervention. And it was because of this, I found my calling. I tell myself that I will not want to see any more sick people in the hospital. If anything at all, the hospital should be a place that has nobody. All right? Everybody should be happy out there enjoying life with their friends and family. And I myself have seen a lot of patients suffering in ICU, and I really feel very angry about this. And this is the cause behind my why I'm here sharing with you here today. To disseminate information, to give people accurate information, and to also remind them of their cause. And I'm only just one person that can help other people. But with you, and with all of you, you can make a significant difference. You never know, the life around you will change completely just because of the BioSlife that you have given to them. So remember, what you have is more than just another fiber supplement, or it's from MLM or whatever. What you have is hope that can literally change and save lives. And remember, those 3,000 people, don't have to die every day. So hope is now in your hands, and I hope you will bring this to the people around you. So thank you for your patience and for listening to my presentation today. We'll be having, depend on the timing, okay, on the Q&A that we're having later. But before that, I have gathered a number of Q&A that I've come across during my time here, which I think would be very beneficial. So I would just like to share with all of you. Just bear with me for another 15 minutes. Okay, I hope I've not bored you out yet. So the first question is, even with supplement, my cholesterol cannot go down. Why? So just to put it out there, this is one of the rarer cases that I've come across. Because most of the time, the people that we have recommended our BioSelf product have experienced a significant difference. All right, the testimonials have explained themselves. But there are a small group of people that may have this problem. So whenever I interrogate, not to say interrogate, just interview, okay, just want to know better, I always ask them about the food that they eat. And when they tell me about what they eat, it's actually not healthy, even though they say they eat very healthy. Okay, you'll definitely see some form of food they eat outside and some form of processed food in their diet. However, if they really eat healthy, okay, say that they eat very good, but there are other circumstances whereby diet and supplementation may not be sufficient due to many factors, such as genetic family history. Some people are more predisposed to producing more cholesterol. Age is a very significant factor, and the changes in hormone will induce the cholesterol levels in our blood. Stress and insufficient sleep and other medical conditions. So for us to really know what is going on and what is the root cause, we need to consult a doctor to identify it. So a lot of people have this misconception. All right, whenever they come across, when they think that the supplement is not working, they think it's the problem of the supplement. Okay, but based on the clinical findings and the testimonies that we have, no doubt that the product is good. All right, the quality is there and the effect is definitely there. But in order for us to really know what is going on, we have to go and really identify ourselves with the doctor, because these are factors beyond our control. So if we really know that, then we can be very specific to tackling the problem. And this is where, once you manage this issue, your cholesterol levels will be normalized. Since I'm on medication, I don't have to continue with supplementation. Don't we get this a lot? Okay, I get this a lot as well. So let's see what are the findings that I found. If I come across this case, I'll ask them back this question. If you're taking supplements, your reading is high. If you don't take it, wouldn't your reading be even higher? So for example, if you eat now, your reading is already 6 or 7. So you don't eat, you'll be like what? 9, 10? So in fact, quite the contrary, okay? According to meta-analysis, okay, dietary gel-forming viscous soluble fiber can double the efficacy of statins. And just now, the clinical research that we have done has also reported the same benefit. So for those who are on statins, and if they take BioLife together with it, they will see even better results that cannot be achieved with medication alone. And in fact, okay, dietary fiber can be used to complement statin, reduce the dose of statin. And this is what we want to achieve, right? Once they're on BioLife, we hope that they will one day taper off from any medication of sorts. Okay, and decrease side effects, improve drug tolerability. So you will see better results in your blood test. And dietary fiber can also increase insulin sensitivity of diabetes patients currently on medication. So if you're on medication, yeah, definitely, whatever you take from BioLife, in fact, can give you added benefit that you cannot achieve with medication alone. So can pregnant lady, children, or elderly consume supplement? So this does not only apply to the BioSlife range, it applies to generally everything that we have here. So the ingredients that we use are generally all natural, and you can find it in vegetables and fruits. So they don't have a problem. Okay, it is not going to bring any major side effects. At most, it will just give some bloating or gas issue. So that's the only thing. Okay, however, due to lack of studies in these population groups, we cannot officially recommend. So that's the only thing. So the best is still asking for doctor's advice. So as for, for pregnant ladies or lactative mothers, because what you take can influence the child, so you need to ask for doctor's advice. And likewise for all other vulnerable population groups. Okay, and this one. Under what circumstances a person cannot consume supplementation? So the answer is individuals on critical medical condition. So there are some instances where people have very serious medical conditions such as cancer, okay, or any other terminal illness. And why is it so? It's because it may interfere with drug or treatment plan, like chemotherapy or radiotherapy. So we do not know, okay, what are the potential interactions that may happen. So we will always support, all right? We will give you the ingredient list of the supplementation, all right, to the doctor, and we'll also ask for opinion. So you can bring this to the doctor and ask for their opinion and consume only if there is medical clearance. And once they say, okay, then you can go. So those two are questions that applies to across the board for the other supplements that we have as well. So if you have any other questions that does not fall within this category and you would like to ask me, then you can feel free to send me an email and I will reply you. Okay, so this will be the end of the presentation. It's close to an hour already. Okay, since there is some questions, I'll just answer them. If someone is having obtaining blood medication, is there chance of hope for less such medication with our such supplementation? Thank you. Or on blood thinning, is it? Have to really see what is the real medical condition behind it. Is it really like heart attack or is it stroke? So that really needs to be in a discussion with a doctor to see the extension of the problem. And would medication, all right, be able to really help? And how would supplement then play into the role? So my question is, have to ask the doctor for more information. Would BioSlife not help gestational diabetes? Oh, this is a very good question. I don't know about this yet, actually. So we have no, okay, then again, we have no research done on like pregnant women. So we cannot really answer this question as well, but this is something that we can consider in the future. Okay, why someone take BioSlife C plus HDL levels decrease? Then again, I think there's always variation because everybody's response towards supplement is very different. So generally across the board, people will experience a decline of LDL with BioSlife. So there are some incidences, 1 or 2, maybe the HDL may decrease. But I don't really think it's a big problem because there are so many other things that we have that can help to support HDL increase as well, such as fish oil, Uni Mate fuel, and LC base. So I think these are things that can help to increase the HDL. So if you, as long as you take the fish oils that we have, shouldn't be too much of a problem. Okay, last question. What effects is there for a person with very high metabolism when taking BioSlife? What is the extent of the question actually? You mean if they have very high metabolism, then the products wouldn't work. Is that what you mean? Generally, it will work across everybody, despite of your metabolism ability. This question is more specific towards like, or maybe you're talking about weight loss products, okay, like the protein supplements that we have. Then it's more relevant. But if asked about Bio's Life, generally it works across everybody, regardless of your metabolism state. So I hope this answers your question. So if you have any other questions that you would like to ask me further, please feel free to write me an email and I'll be very happy to answer you.